I found a way to get a literal infinite amount of damage in the Pokemon trading card game. In this video, I'll show you how I got here, how it works, and then show you the crazy combo in action. Over the past several years, I've seen several videos push the limits of the Pokemon trading card game to see how much damage is possible. If you're just looking at big numbers, Charizard EX takes the lead with the highest printed attack damage of 330. But that doesn't account for attacks that are multiplicative, such as the currently popular attacker Raging Bolt EX, which can do 70 damage, times the number of energy you discard. If you have a deck of 1 Raging Bolt EX and 59 energy, you can do a couple thousand damage, but the best strategies are way more involved. Like, just look at this example from years ago that started with Palkia and Dialga Legend. To add a bunch of prize cards for your opponent, you let them take all the prize cards except for one, which will power up Iris, a supporter which scales for more damage for every prize card your opponent has taken. So your opponent has an Iris in their hand, you recycle Smeargle's ability, which will copy the Iris from your opponent's hand, and abuse the combination of Junk Arm, Execute, and Scoop Up Cyclone to pick up, reset, and reuse Smeargle's ability a couple dozen times. Do it enough times and then hit with a powerful base attack. This person got a nice 69,000 damage. Or look at this crazy attempt, which uses Deoxys V-Star's Star Force attack, which deals 60 damage per energy attached to both Mons. You cleverly attach over 50 energy to both sides without decking out, use Charizard's ability to make each fire energy count as 2 fire energy, then Kabutops to make weakness count as ×4, and swing for over 50,000 damage. There are so many genius attempts with attackers that can multiplicatively scale and use as many damage modifiers as possible, but they all seem to hit a limit. Which, don't get me wrong, this is absolutely absurd. This could knock out the biggest Pokemon EX hundreds of times over, but it still seemed to be the limit until Sleeping Jirachi hit a breakthrough. Sleeping Jirachi found that by using a Mime Jr. to copy Conkeldur's counterattack with a survival brace attached, you can do an exponential amount of damage. And the only limits are the programming of the game, I'll explain that in a bit, and how many times you can recycle survival brace. Counter does 20 damage plus however much damage was received last turn. Survival brace allows a Pokemon to heal back to 10 if it were to be knocked out at full health. Mime Jr. can copy one of your opponent's attacks, so it copies Conkeldur's counter, and then can be fully healed by Radiant Serena's ability to go from 10 to 30. They used Porygon to set their opponent weak to Psychic, and used 151 Kabutops' ability to set weakness to ×4 to scale the damage even faster. So, if you have a way to recycle Survival Brace, you can build up some insane damage. The best way in Standard currently to recycle tools is Roseanne's Research, which shuffles a tool from the discard pile back into the deck. All you have to do is use Roseanne's Research, shuffle back in a Survival Brace, grab that Survival Brace with Pidgeot EX's Quick Search, reattach it, and attack again. You let both sides do it, use Roseanne's Research and lots of Pal Pads, and you're able to achieve an insane over 2 billion damage. Now, this run was limited because it had a finite number of times it could recycle Survival Brace. By excluding the expanded format, their options were very limited. Even though that was potentially the highest possible damage ever in the standard format, I wanted to see if it was possible to get a true infinity by using this strategy, but by opening up the card pool with the expanded format. But before I got cooking, there was a major roadblock I had to remove first. The Pokemon Trading Card Game Live is not coded to go above 2 billion damage. Let me explain. In programming, especially in games like PTCGL, numbers such as damage values are stored in specific data types. One of the most common data types for whole numbers is called an integer, or more specifically, a 32-bit signed integer. A 32-bit integer has a fixed amount of space in a computer's memory to store a number using the binary system. Because it's 32 bits, the maximum value it can hold is roughly 2.1 billion. When a number exceeds this limit, there can be a few different scenarios, but suffice to say the program breaks. There are some crazy examples of really creative programmers who invent ways to store absurdly large numbers, like in Balatro, but Pokemon never expected it to be possible that someone could ever get even remotely close to this limit, so they were sensible and chose to leave it. With that said, if I wanted to get a true infinity amount of damage, I couldn't use a program to show it off. I needed to physically make the decks, round up fellow nerd, and play Pokemon. The main characters of the deck are Mime Jr., Conkeldurr V, Radiant Serena, and Survival Brace. The biggest of many reasons why Infinite isn't possible in the standard format is the lack of recovery without using an attack. Mime Jr. can never leave the active, so popular standard control cards like Regieleki to recycle trainers with electromagnetic sonar won't work. And it's just not possible to infinitely recycle tools where the only trainer-based tool recovery in the standard format is Roseanne's research. So let's work backwards. We need to recycle a tool infinitely. There are two good trainer-based options in the expanded format: Roseanne's research and Lana's fishing rod. I figured because you can only play one supporter per turn, item-based recovery in Lana's fishing rod would be the way to go. But that brings up the question, how can I infinitely recycle an item, Lana's fishing rod? Those familiar with standard control will recognize Silene, which lets you flip 2 coins and put a card from your discard pile back on top of your deck for each heads. But this is a supporter, making this strictly worse than Roseanne's research, and it's only a 75% chance to work anyway. I need it to be guaranteed. This Florges has a really silly ability that on a coin flip heads, you can put a discarded item into your deck. You might be wondering, why bring this card up with a 50% chance when you just shot down Silene for only working 75% of the time? Well, it's because we can use Will. Will is a supporter that lets you guarantee the result of your next coin flip. So I can use Will to guarantee the heads on Florges' ability to put Lana's fishing rod back into my deck, draw Lana's fishing rod, use it to recycle Survival Brace, draw Survival Brace, and voila. But Will is a supporter card, so it has the exact same problem as Roseanne's research. So let's talk about how we can infinitely recover supporters without attacking. This is where Team Plasma Magnezone is insane. Dual Brains allows you to play 2 supporters per turn. Pair that with the crazy Alola boss Lusamine, and you start to get a loop. Lusamine lets you choose 2 supporters from your discard pile and put them straight into your hand. All you have to do is use Lusamine to recycle a second Lusamine for next turn, as well as your recovery supporter of choice, Will or Roseanne's research. Use Dual Brains to play that the same turn, recycle your Survival Brace, and then you have a loop. Lastly, we just need to make sure we don't deck out by using Pidgeot V's ability to put itself back on top of the deck to swing for an infinitely exponential amount of damage. Now I'm going to swap to some gameplay of myself and my friend Jonas as I explain a few more nuances. I decided that Unknown V-Star was better than Porygon to set my opponent weak to Psychic, since Porygon's attack is a status that disappears if the affected Pokemon leaves the active. Only one side could use Porygon effectively. So I opted for Unknown V-Star, whose V-Star attack gives it an ability where all of your opponent's Mons are weak to Psychic. The ideal board setup is Mime Jr. in the active, Pidgeot EX to search for Survival Brace, Radiant Serena to heal Mime Jr., Conkeldurr V for its counter attack, Plasma Magnezone to allow you to use 2 supporters per turn, Unknown V-Star to set your opponent's Mime Jr. weak to Psychic, and Pidgeot V to make sure you don't deck out, all on your bench. I had to include Skyfield in the deck to give us the 8 bench spaces we need to make all of our pieces fit. There is a strong possibility that something critical in my deck is located in my prize cards, so I included 4 Gladion and a Peonia to manipulate my prize cards. The whole combo requires about 25 cards, which meant I had the freedom to make the rest of my deck Pokemon Search and Draw support to help get the combo up and rolling. My deck list, as well as all channels I've shown, are linked in the description. Oh, it's extremely possible we messed up on the math somewhere along the line. We were doing damage calcs on my iPad by hand, so it's possible it went off somewhere along the line. But I really don't think it matters that much because it still goes to infinity either way. Similarly, we did have room for one more Pokemon on the bench that we used for draw support, but we could have used for damage amplification. But again, I figured it didn't really matter since both ways go to infinity, and infinity plus 30 is still infinity. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more dumb things you can do in the Pokemon trading card game, like and subscribe to see more of my projects. My next video I'm working on is a guaranteed auto win on the first turn going first that I think you'll really like. Now enjoy our gameplay.
I will bench Pidgeot, Roseanne's backup, Tasting, Vanishing Wings, Elegant Heal, Reattach, Lusamine, and Mind Games. 20 times 4. 37,000 damage.
37,000 damage. It's a lot. It's a lot of damage. Alright, I'll draw for turn. I'll bench the Pidgeot. I will Roseanne's backup, shuffling that back into my deck. I will Elegant Heal. Remember that now?
Yes, let's go.
We will Tasting, draw our card. Attach Survival Brace here. We will Lusamine. these two. I will Vanishing Wings, and I will use Mind Games.
For counter. Plus 20 times 4.
150,000 damage.
Let's go!
Huge.
Alright. Oh. 20 damage. Discard Survival Brace. Elegant Heal. Roseanne's backup. Get rid of Survival Brace. Casting. Bench Pidgeot. Vanishing Wings. Attach Survival Brace. Usamine. And Mind Games.
Alright, use counter.
Whoa! 600,000 damage!
damage.
Woo! And that means you healed for 600,000 damage, 780.
Man. Alright, we'll bench the Pidgeot. We will Roseanne's back up.
Yes, my deck should be
face
face
up the deck. Lucy. Tasty. There you go. Elegant Heal. Vanishing Wings. Mind Games.
Counter. Discard Survival Brace. Alright, how much damage are we doing? Plus 20 times 4. Is that 2.5 trillion?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Alright. Bench Pidgeot, Roseanne's backup. I'm feeling crazy. I'm gonna go Quick Search.
Whoa.
Boom.
Calm down there, my friend.
Boom. Vanishing Wings, Elegant Heal, Reattach, Usamine, and Mind Games.
Ooh, I guess for counter.
Oh. I was worried you were gonna choose something else.
I'm using Gyro Ball this time, my friend. Sorry.
Dang it! Switch. Oh, switch. Oh, that would be disgusting.
Alright, we will draw for turn. Bench the Pidgeot. Roseanne's backup.
Weird.
Shuffle that back in.
Oh wait, how much damage was that? Was that 10 trillion? I think it was 10 trillion.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Listening for these two back. We'll Quick Search. We will Elegant Heal. Vanishing Wings. We're not tasting.
Ooh.
Vanishing Wings.
Oh, you're crazy!
Survival Brace. Mind Games.
Bro's just styling on me. Alright, how much damage do we do? Plus 20 times 4. 40 trillion.
Yeah.
That's crazy.